And what's up, guys? Back at it. Continuing operations here at the 3D print farm, my fledgling little business. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to follow me along in this process until I ultimately give up. Anyway, just going over what got going on today. Today is the September 3rd. Doing hopefully the final stage of the prototype with the new mining stand that holds a GPU. Doing that in PLA. Once everything tests out and I'm happy with it, then I'm going to go into PETG for it. And I might do, depending on how much filament it uses, I might do a solid on that, because I really don't want to sell something that holds expensive electronics that, is not solid. But we'll test it and see. I got some ideas on a testing process for that. And also, another order came through last night of 2 of the Hornet nests, which is crazy to me, because this actually, I scanned a Hornet nest and tooled around with it a little bit in Tinkercad, just kind of make it a little better. And actually, I'm running it at, I think, 3% infill. I think I could probably get away with like 1%, honestly, because it doesn't really need that much. It's pretty solid, but it takes a really long time to print this. I think this is like 8.5 hours. I'm just running regular PLA on this one at a higher temp so I can get a little higher speed out of it, but going pretty good. And for the P1P, we are doing another succubus. I had to repaint the model because I have 2 AMSs now, but we're doing this one at 400%, and even at that smaller size, this is at 600%, and she's almost a foot tall from the tip of her hair down. But she just came out so nice. I was going to put her on Etsy, but I think I'm going to keep it because it's just so impressive to me. I added some sensor. This is, if you buy one of these, the tape is not part of it. And then also the Angel. She came out finally yesterday. Makes a nice set. Angel, Devil. But I really kind of like, I had some issues here on the tips of the wings. The supports printing, because I printed it inverted, so it wouldn't put support on all these little wing tips. So, kind of cutting this off, it was really a challenge. It stuck real bad. I need to tinker with my settings on the contact Z distance for the supports on this, but overall it came out nice, because I'm going to keep her too. I'm going to keep this set. I just really like this, but I'm going to probably put future models up. So yeah, makes a nice little set, and this artist, I really like her. Everything she comes out with has this style that I really like. Obviously, it's sexualized, but it's kind of a cool look. It's not like really anime, because I'm not into anime or dolls or anything. I don't collect these things. I really just wanted to test the limits of the printer, but I think it came out so nice. It's super cool to look at. I really like it. So probably look for these on the Etsy store soon. Smaller versions anyway. I guess I can offer the larger version for more money, but yeah. Cool set. And what else? Once I get into my 3D print, allotted time for 3D print work today, probably going to take another look at this coffee mug. Again, this is a smaller version. I mentioned this one in the last video. Saw a guy on YouTube. He's like, I'm selling a ton of these coffee mugs, and he's selling them for like $500. I'm like, I could easily do that. So I just designed this very simply. Obviously, it's not going to be black. I have a lot of black I use for my prototyping, but yeah. So I'm thinking. I was thinking maybe of like because I printed it in layers, so I could not have, I really prefer to print things that don't need support, because support makes things ugly. But some kind of little bushing or lip to put on here so they all kind of nest into each other. That'd be ideal, but we'll take a look at that, run the numbers on it, and see what I can get away with charging for it. And then finally the GPU stand, which is probably going to try to shotgun that out pretty soon, because if you're unfamiliar, I have another YouTube channel where I do cryptocurrency mining stuff. And so these stands, people like to mount their computers on these stands to do cryptocurrency mining. I had stands on the store before, but I was concerned about warping, because people put these in really hot environments, and over time, plastic, it's just going to bend and warp. So I was thinking well, I could do it in PETG, but then, PETG is not impervious to heat either. It's a little bit better, but still, it's a lot of weight. So most people make their stands like this, where they stand up and they use That wasn't good. They use the motherboard as a structural element, which I really do not like to do. Because like the weight, there's nothing, these stands are not connected. So it's using the motherboard as a structural element, which is something I really wanted to avoid. But I don't see any way around it, because if I make it flat where it sits on it, then it doesn't matter. The weight is going to have an influence on it. So I was studying, I was looking at 3D Print Master stands. Go buy his, they're gonna be cheaper than mine, always. But I was looking at his and I was like, okay, I can't rip off the design, but I could certainly be inspired by it. You can't fault me for that. So anyway, I was looking at his and the way he kind of does it, where he stands it up, and then I just kind of sort of took interpretation from that, because his appear to be like a really stripped down version. I think he does that probably to save space on shipping, to save material so he can offer it at a lower price. And, you know, obviously that's a good idea. But I've got to differentiate. I can't copy it one for one. I got to make it a little bit different. And so I'm like, okay, what can I improve upon? Because if I'm going to charge more money, it's got to be, you know, have some kind of benefit over it. And that's not to say that it will, but my thinking was, and this is the way I prototype stuff, I don't fuss over it in design. I just kind of make it and then print it and then be like, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and do another revision and another revision. I don't know, a lot of people would probably say, like, you're wasting so much material. Like, I don't care. That's my workflow. So I just print these. They have like 1 or 2% infill, and it's really just to spot it out and stuff. So I just have endless amounts of these. I don't even know what to do with this stuff. I know some people recycle their PLA, but I was looking into it, and it seems like it just is not worth it, because if you don't do it right, it'll screw up and it'll jam up the printer and create more problems, versus just buying straight from Elegoo and you get it for $10 a spool. So it seems to me that that's what you do. But anyway, on this new stand model, you know, for those interested, motherboard goes up, I/O panel here, PSU here, all the cables coming out on this side, similar to 3D Print Masters. What I did on the final revision that's printing now is I actually connected this GPU bracket, this PCIe bracket, whatever you want to call it. I printed it down to connect to the bottom foot here. And that way, if there is any chance whatsoever of like sag, of like it kind of going down, it just pop, you know, holds it up. And so I put like an angle here. It's more material for sure. But it's like, you know, I just want to really, really make sure that it's as sturdy as I can possibly make it. That's why I was thinking about going at 100% infill. Or maybe, you know, the difference between, in my experience, 100% infill and 50% infill, it doesn't seem like a lot to me on the pieces that I've tried. It depends on the application, obviously. But like, you know, if this is 2-3%, you know, I can't, this is tough for having no infill, because all the strength comes from the outside. So I just want to make sure it's really, really tough. And so once I get like a final working prototype, then I do a PET-G prototype. And then my idea is to take this, load it up with as much weight as possible. I'll take out this Quadro and put in, I have an old 1080 Ti, it weighs a ton. I'll put that on here, screw it all in, and then I'm going to sit this thing in front of an S19J Pro amp miner. And if you're unfamiliar, it's a crypto mining computer that puts out a lot of heat. And I'm just going to blast this thing with heat, get it as hot as I can, or, you know, at least test how realistically, how hot, you know, it would be in someone else's environment, underweight, and leave it for like a couple days, and then come back and take a look at it. And if it sags, then, you know, go back and re-tinker with it. And if it holds up, then shotgun it out. So that's what's going on in the 3D print land currently. Currently looking at some AI stuff too. See if I can start generating models with stable diffusion, but it doesn't seem like that stuff's really polished up enough. And technical design, you know, that are just straight lines and things like this. This is easy enough to do on my own. I don't need a computer to do that for me. But organic stuff like those character models, I have no idea where to start. I'm not learning Blender. So that's the update with the 3D print business that I have going on right now. Let me know what you think, or you want to see in the comments below, if anything at all. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and like the video, because it's the nice thing to do. I'm The Technicals. See you next time.